Hey YouTube, what's up? It's me, Amaxter. We're back with episode 15 of Behind the Mod. For this episode, we have Lycanite, the creator of Lycanite's Mobs. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, so Lycanite's Mobs, it's been around for a little bit, and it's basically this, it adds a bunch of demon mobs, but also a lot of these fancy mobs to Minecraft. How did that get started?
So it started. I think it's been like 2 or 3 years ago now. Um, I was working on a mod pack at the time, and I just wanted more mobs. And I started with dungeon mobs, which is quite a cool mod. But I wanted it so that like certain mobs would be like bound to certain biomes.
It's like natural spawning?
Yeah, like if I was like say playing in a swamp, I wanted like not just regular zombies or skeletons. I wanted like ghoulish looking zombies, stuff like that, where it would like blend in more with the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And so I started using some mods to adjust the spawn, like which mobs could spawn where, and it kind of worked, but it wasn't really working properly.
Huh. So, were you making mods before, or was Lycanite's Mobs, I guess, your first mod?
I did actually make another mod called Metal Mechanics for 152. Um, it was an okay mod at the time. It was like a tech mod where I had like a grinder, like electric furnace, those sorts of like basic machines. But I just didn't really keep up with it, and come Minecraft 164 kind of like dropped it.
Huh. So, but with, I guess, now with Lycanite's mobs, obviously did you kind of start out with like Nether mobs, I think? Because I remember early on, it seemed to be the focus was on these kind of demonic mobs in the Nether.
Yeah, so when I decided to start working on it, I thought, right, I want to start with the Nether first. I don't know why I chose that, but I think it's mainly because before modding Minecraft or anything, I used to mod Doom a lot back when I was young.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I really love Doom. So I thought, right, I'm gonna add some demons to the Nether based off the Doom demons. So I figured that's a good place to start. So that's how I started the mod off. But I always had like the plan to expand outwards into the overworld afterwards.
So was Doom kind of how you started programming, I guess, making like mods for that?
Yeah, kind of. It wasn't really proper programming as much as like just scripting and
Map
more
making?
like yeah, map making and putting new demons in. But again, it was like using like scripting, which is kind of like a bit more basic, but it was quite fun and it got me into it.
Yeah, I can definitely see the inspiration from Doom and lots of the design of Lycanite's mobs. I guess that's how it kind of has a style of it's not quite realistic, but it's definitely like I guess I don't know it's very unminecrafty. It's unique, I guess. Like if I look at a mob from Lycanite's mobs, I'm not gonna think, oh, is that from Mo Creatures or is that from X mod? Like no, that's Lycanite's mobs. So I think it is definitely very you have lots of unique and identifiable mobs in there.
Yeah, I mean that's good. It's kind of what I was going for. Because they don't really they're not your typical blocky shapes or anything. And I got to a point where I was developing. And I was like, right, I've got a better model format. Do I want to like stick with cubes or do I want to just push and like go for something different? So in the end, I decided, screw it. I'll make like slightly different models. They don't really blend in with other mobs, but I think when it's mostly just like connected mobs, it kind of has its own thing going on.
So did you start, I guess, adding like more overworld mobs based on biomes later as you like started to develop it or continue to develop it, I guess?
Yeah, so I had a plan to do 7 mobs for each group. So I started with the demons and I thought, right, I'll make 7 doom demons. And started with the Belf, which are like these little doom imps, and finished with the Kako demons, which are the big floating red things. And I thought, right, next I'm going to move on to the desert and the swamp because I figured those are the two that really needed like more unique mobs. And so I started with the Crypt Zombie, the Ghoul, and the Krusk, and then moved on from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely noticed, like, vanilla Minecraft, lots of the biomes, it only feels like some of them are actually, like, I guess legitimately populated. And so when you have something like Lycanite's mobs, it does really make exploring, I think, a lot more interesting. Even stuff like mining, because, like, you mine some rock and, then monster pops up. It's almost like an RPG or something at random encounters. It definitely adds, it puts you on, I guess, the edge of your seat when you're playing Minecraft more.
Yeah, yeah. That's also like something else I really wanted back in Minecraft was I remember when I first played and it became nighttime and there's just these mobs and I was just scared. I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do? So I was like stuck in a little mud hut hiding, and it's like the whole how to survive your first night thing. So I kind of wanted to bring that back a bit, where like the mobs are scary and it was like a constant challenge, especially with packs that like armor up a bit more. I wanted to kind of like battle those a bit more as well.
Yeah, I think it really makes the. I mean, say what I mean. Like last episode, we had Biomes of Plenty on, and that mod makes exploration interesting because it's pretty window dressing and has some cool stuff in it. But mobs, they kind of that's what makes the game terrifying, and that can be great sometimes. And I guess, but you don't just have hostile mobs. You also have like pets and stuff. So did that come on later in the mod development cycle?
It's something else that I wanted when I start working on it. I thought I'm gonna add some more peaceful mobs, maybe make some of them like heart like neutral instead as well. So like I really wanted to add like some weird creatures like you just start farming, like to expand player farms out and be like the concopedes, which are these centipede things in the jungle. I think they're probably one of the weirdest ones because rather than breeding them, that you just let their bodies grow, then you like split them in half and then let them grow a bit more. I wanted like really new, interesting ways to like farm different mobs.
Yeah, another thing that I really love about the mod is the event system where like basically crazy stuff flashes on your screen and maybe it'll be like I don't know a swarm of flying mobs or something. It's basically something you're totally unprepared for and takes you aback, but also at the same time I guess I don't know, at least it makes me kind of laugh. It's I think it really gives the mod I don't know, a personal touch that I don't like see in any other mod, I think.
Yeah, the if that's one of the features that I didn't plan on initially, and then later on I was like, oh, I've got a cool idea. And I think at the time I was like working with the Mad Pack a lot, which is streamed by John Bams. I don't know if you've heard of John Bams, but yeah, I kind of wanted to add something in to really like liven up this pack because it's the Mad Pack's like a very crazy pack with lots of like crazy stuff going on. So I'm like, right, I'm gonna add something awesome. So I figured I'll do events, but now they're turned off by default because I think a lot of people felt like it was a bit too much. So I've like kind of learned over the years to really balance stuff out a bit, and it's also why the config files are huge.
Oh yeah, like you look at the configs. There's basically you can configure like what mob spawns and what biomes, and just all the details of that. I guess speaking of biomes, was it kind of difficult to get it working with like other bio mods, or was that pretty easy? Like with working with Forged, I guess from a technical perspective, to get mobs maybe spawning in swamp themed biome of plenty biomes or whatever.
Oh, yeah, so initially, I just listed biomes, and then I pulled in like Biome Aplenty's API or whatever, and then that gave me like, a bigger list. So at first, I was manually working with Biomes Aplenty, extra biomes, and all that. But I found later on in Forge has a built-in biome tagging system where, say, you got like the mountains, you can tag that as a cold, high climate, whatever, and like forests would have like dense trees. I can't remember all the tags, but like basically any mod can make a biome and give it a bunch of tags that it's like based around, and it means that my mod can then just use tags rather than biomes to spawn, and it just makes it like compatible with any biome mod.
Yeah, I mean it's compatible with biome mods now, which is great. In the Forge, I guess biome dictionary or whatever it's called is I think really useful for lots of mods like Lycanites that add all that stuff. Like you also I guess, integrate with mods like Doom-like dungeons, which I think is like if you're gonna integrate with the mod, that's the perfect one to do it with, because and that mod basically adds as it says, dungeons in the vein of Doom, in the sense that they're basically these sprawling mazes, and then you have Lycanite's mobs spawning in them. So I guess have you kind of as you've developed it, you've kind of found more neat mods to kind of work with?
Kind of both. I mean, with doing like dungeons, the mod dev contacted me, and I was like, so I checked out this mod, and I was like, this is awesome. And they had a really cool config where it just works with any other mod. So I'm like, this is excellent. So I did that, shared his mod out a bit, and yeah, it's a pretty cool mod. I think roguelike dungeons, I think you can do the same with that now as well, which is quite cool. But there's been other mods where I've worked with other mod devs, not as much as I could. I think there's quite a few mods out there that I'd like to integrate with more, but it's just a matter of time, really. And I still have like a lot of mobs I want to add first before I start looking at like expanding out and working with more mods. But
Yeah.
if any mod dev contacts me, I'm happy to do what I can to help.
Yeah, that's an awesome attitude to have, I think, because I mean, so often people play when they're playing modded, they're playing in mod packs. So the more compatibility you can have and the more integration, first of all, the easier it makes it for the mod pack maker, but also the more awesome it is for the player just to have all that stuff working together. I think it really turns the game into something else, for sure.
Yeah. Uh, when I think of modding, I instantly think right mod packs because no one really uses a mod on its own. Like, I mean, some people might, but I think like if you're gonna make a mod, you expect it to go in a pack and to work with loads of other mods. So you've got to be prepared for that as well.
I mean, yeah, I think there was a time where maybe people did that, like with the Aether or just those big mods that, weren't known for working well with other mods, but people were interested in anyways. But I think now definitely we're kind of at this point where like if your mod isn't designed to or is designed to be standalone, it just for better or worse, it's just not going to be used a lot. So do you think like mod packs and all that stuff has influenced the design of your mod, like from a mechanical and I guess artistic perspective?
Yeah, in some sense, like artistically, I think there's kind of just one direction I'm focusing on. It like mainly the Doom inspiration, but then other games have inspired certain designs as well. Like the Jousts, which are in the desert, they're based off Oddworld, and
Huh.
there's also Hex and Heretic and some like really cool old retro games that have influenced design. So I'm kind of like locked down to like games I've played and my own imagination for design. But for visual design at least anyway, for designing other stuff in the mod, I have mod packs definitely influence certain things. And like at the minute, I'm planning to make a cool little generator where there's these storm elemental mobs called Zephyr, and they, if you go near them, they electrocute you. So I figured I could add a block that if the Zephyrs get near, they'll charge it, and that could then generate energy for any kind of energy mod.
That would be a neat way to make RF or EU or whatever. That would and I think that would that's also another, I guess, pretty cool feature, I guess, because it makes it more when you have stuff like that, it kind of puts interplay between the mods. Like I don't think it's any longer where, oh, I'm gonna do industrial craft today and then the next day I'm gonna find all the Lycanites mobs. No, like you kind of I guess it all goes into one experience when it's in a pack like that. But I guess with influence also, I mean, new Doom game came out recently. Do you think any influence is going to come from that, or I guess do you think the visual design is largely the same?
I think the new Doom game really like plays back to like the original Doom games. Like that's the art style they've kind of targeted, and they've done a good job at like bringing that up. So it's kind of like the same, really. Doom 3 was what like probably not as good, except for the traits in that game, which have made it in. But yeah, it's kind of just the same. But I guess it has influenced the last boss that I made, which was Asmodeus. It's a giant, basically the spider mastermind, which was in the original Doom game and is the last boss of the new Doom game. But in the new Doom game, it flips and stuff, and that gave me the idea to make it jump around the arena a lot more. It just seemed a lot more lifelike than in the original game. So, and it kind of like spurred me on to work on that boss.
Huh. Yeah, I guess largely the new Doom is mainly just the old aesthetic, just kind of modernized, with fancy new graphics. But yeah, there are some. I guess I do like how you have lots of. I guess you have this lexicon of material that it's based off of, which is really cool. Lots of which is kind of '90s stuff, and it gives the mod just a really cool theme overall. I think the whole like um just aesthetic and also just the theme of it is great. But
Yeah, yeah.
I guess more recently you've been you've updated to 1.9 and 1.10. What's that been like going from 1.7, which obviously many modders were reluctant or had a hard time doing.
So near the end of 1.7.10, I kind of was a bit burnt out on Minecraft altogether. So I kind of like started taking a break, and then 1.8 came out. And I just looked at how much work I had to do, and I was like, "Oh man, that is huge." And so it kind of like can't say the word, demotivated me a bit. So I was like, I ended up like taking a break, and then 1.9 came out, and I was like, ah. But then John Bams again with the Mad Pack. He started working on a new pack for 1.9, and I was like, ah. And then I saw the 1.9 combat, and I was like, oh, that's quite interesting because it's like it just feels more dynamic. So I'm like, right. So I pulled down the source for 1.9 Forge and threw my mod in, and then I figured, right, just every day I'll fix up part of the mod, and then eventually after a couple of like few weeks, it got close, and so I spent like the rest of the month working solid on an update, and then it came out for 1.9. I was like, yes, done. But yeah, it was quite hellish, and it's also why I'm not touching 1.8.9 because that's still got a bit of a gap between it and 1.9. So I'm just like just abandoning that area altogether. But
Yeah, you kind
with
of skip it.
1.10, yeah, I just ended up skipping it in the
That
end. I
make
just
that
wanted
makes
to.
sense though, because like there's I guess there's no point supporting older versions when the newer like I think we've seen lots of the modding community get behind 1.9 and 1.10.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I think 1.9, it's a new stop to go to. And then 194 came out, and that changed a few things, but not much. So it wasn't too hard to update to. It just took a bit of time. And then 1.10 has been awesome because there was actually like six or something lines of code to change. I was like, that's nothing. And then 1.10.2 is out, and just this morning I just found out that it just works. So like the 1.10 builds were in 1.10.2. So yeah, hopefully it'll stay like that for the next few updates.
Yeah, what do you think of Mojang? I guess taking a much more rapid, but at the same time, less technically challenging for modders development cycle like that.
Yeah, I think it's good. The main reason is rather than like massive jumps and then a massive wait, it's just lots of smaller updates. So when updating, there's less work involved every time. So it's easier. Like lots of little changes is quite easy, but when you've got like a big jump, like from 1.7.10 to 1.8.9, it's just so much to do at once. And like it, the main problem is your mod doesn't compile, so you can't just go like, okay, I've got to fix that. When you can't test it, you've got to like fix everything first before you can start testing. Whereas with little updates, you do a few fixes and then you test out the bugs and it's done. And you just keep doing it like that. It's just much better.
Yeah, I think 1.7 and 1.8 were just two kind of punches in the guts for modders, and but at the same time, I think they kind of forced the community to reinvent itself, and I guess we've seen that. Yeah, with 1.8, like you have this whole new crop of different mods, like Botania, or no, sorry, not that was 1.7, JEI, and like Chisels and Bits, and I guess so. Do you think 1.9 has or when 1.10 has kind of forced you to redesign your mod or like refine it or make it better?
It's kind of there is kind of like a fresh attitude with mods I found lately where it seem a lot uh, I don't know if cleaner or crisper seems the word. Just like it just is like what you said, like a fresh new attitude, a new set of mods coming out, and I figured I just want to update my mod and get in there with all the new stuff going on. Um, I have cleaned up a few things, but it's kind of just the same mod as 1.7.10. But there have been a few vast improvements, especially the pathfinding as well, because with the Guardian mobs added in 1.8, they added a new pathfinding system, I think, and it allowed for swimming mobs and flying mobs to path as well as ground mobs. So I pulled all that in, and now it's really improved those types of mobs, which I've been quite happy with.
That's pretty nice. Have you seen, I guess, any cool like 1.9 or one like more recent version content, like mod packs or whatever, using your mod yet?
I haven't seen too many mod packs yet. The main problem is I spend probably like 95% of my time working on my mod and like 5% actually playing Minecraft. So I would really like to get my mod wrapped up a bit and then like just do have a little bit of downtime where I can actually play the game for a bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that experience, because obviously, like Knight's Mobs is kind of like a passion project for you. So I'm sure it's nice to, when you get a chance to, kind of see what people have done with it, and also just kind of enjoy it for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I love to see like YouTube videos of it and all sorts. It's also awesome the type of feedback you get by just watching someone's like first experience. Like, again, I can go back to the Mad Pack, which I think's really helped the mod out. Just watching like live on stream, someone mining ore, and then boom, Geonac pops out, and they're like, "Oh, what's going on?" It's just really nice to see that sort of like reaction sort of thing.
Yeah, I know. Like that's why personally, I mean, I'm not a programmer, but I can't really understand why, some modders have, such odd policies on mod pack permissions, and obviously that's controversial. I guess less so now than it used to be, but you have a pretty open stance, and that's totally understandable because I mean, people want to see their stuff being used in cool ways. And so I think it is confusing to me why some people do that. I know some people have their reasons, but I think there's definitely an advantage to kind of seeing people discover your work. I think that's just one of the most satisfying things there is.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the mods where it's like you can't use this in the mod pack. I just think it's an awful like from my point of view anyway. It's an awful attitude to have, and it just doesn't feel good. I can see why you'd want to like make sure that your mods like map back to you and that you get credit for it. And if people are just downloading packs, they might not even think of the author or anything. And sometimes like the ad fly links, stuff like that, where it gives the mod devs a bit of money. The money's nice, but it's at a point where it's like, well, if people are using packs, they're not going to download your mod anyway.
It's
So they
kind of
might
it's
as well.
almost like the piracy thing, except I guess even less. It's not less extreme than that. Just like yeah, they're not gonna. Someone who's using a mod pack, I mean, they might, but they're less likely to download your mod on CurseForge and put it in their own instance. So why not make it like I think it's better to have loved and lost or whatever that code is. Basically, it's better to try it to get someone to actually try it than just never experience it. Even if you don't make the ad fly revenue or CurseForge revenue or whatever you're doing with it.
Yeah, definitely. I'd rather have like no revenue from my mod, but have loads of people enjoy it and all sorts of different packs or whatever, than to have revenue but like very little downloads and a little bit of notice and not being involved in all the fun packs that are going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think the community is finally starting to turn around to, I mean, like in terms of modders seeing that there's a difference between the nine Minecrafts or whatever the world and the actual people who make mod packs or people who just do cool things but maybe make add-ons for mods or whatever. That's a huge thing now, especially in newer versions. But yeah, I guess thank you so much for coming on today to talk about Lycanite's mobs. Really cool. Love the mod, and I'm sure many people watching this do as well. And I guess, do you have any closing thoughts or I guess previews of the future or whatever?
Well, first, thanks for interviewing me. I think it's pretty cool. Thoughts for the future. I've got like a plans list on my mods. I've also got like a little vote going on for what should be next. I might do that a bit more so people can decide which mob I work on next. For the distant future, I want to add lots of different dragons because dragons are awesome, and then just see where the mod goes from there. Um, Also, probably a special thanks are due as well. There's a cool guy called Goodness. He has this awesome like radio-esque deep voice, and he's the one that does the voiceovers for the events that
Oh,
when they come up.
nice.
Yeah, so he deserves a bit of credit for that. And also John Bams, who started adding it to the Mad Pack and streams it a lot. He gets a lot of viewers, and like I remember I got random tweets. I'm like, oh, what's this? Someone using my mod, so I checked it out, and then said hi in chat, and he was like amazed that the actual mod dev was in his chat, and he noticed I had like 100 odd followers on Twitter. So within like a few minutes, boom, it boosted me to like 1,000+ followers on Twitter. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So I'm probably thank him and other people like him as well that just spread the mod out, because without other people, the mods wouldn't be what it is today.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, and that's a great attitude to have about it. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you all you guys for watching. And I guess see you in the next one. Goodbye.